Welcome to the third section of second unit of human physiology paper. The title of today's presentation is Basic Anatomy of Heart and Circulation Systems. Whenever we talk about circulatory system, we should not forget to think about William Harvey, because he is the one who discussed and explained about the different circulatory system which exist in a human body. So, on the basis of his work, we are going to study about the circulatory systems and the functioning of the heart. So, this is the original anatomical real structure of the heart of a human. So, you can see this is the art created by these type of real images of the heart. So, if you cut a heart of an individual, the heart looks like this. So by seeing this, you can come to the conclusion that the chamber, how it looks, and which part of the chamber will be looks like with a more amount of space, and which chamber will have less amount of space, how the thickness of wall of the vessels will be present. We'll study about cardium, pericardium, epicardium, myocardium, like that we are seeing. So those things, we'll see ventricles, auricles, and then the aorta, blood vessels, and these are all the things are indicated in this real anatomical image of heart. Now we are going to see about the educational point of view images and structures. Usually the heart is mostly made up of a muscle tissue, that special type of muscle which is known as the cardiac muscle. The outer cover of the heart is known as the pericardium. The outer cover of the heart is known as the pericardium, which is located in the chest. Then after this pericardium, we have another layer which is known as the epicardium. Okay, then the epicardium is actually touches the heart. Then the heart is made up of the muscle that is known as the myocardium. Then the interior, the lumen of the heart, the vessel, say the empty spaces of the interior part of the chamber will have another cell which is known as the endothelial cells, or which is called as an endothelium. So we have about four type of main important components: pericardium, epicardium, myocardium, and endothelial cells. Apart from these cells, the heart is also have different valves, and these valves are the major component which controls the flow of blood. Okay, so if you see the valve, there are about, you can see this bicuspid valve which is going to present between left ventricle and left auricle. Similarly, if you see between left ventricle and left auricle, you will have a tricuspid valve. So here you can see right atrium, right ventricle. You have a tricuspid valve, but between left atrium and left ventricle you will have a bicuspid valve. So these two valves, tricuspid, bicuspid. So the number of projections which are going to present in the valve, they are called as tri as well as bi. The bicuspid valve also has the other name of mitral valve. Okay, then we have about another two different valves which are going to present in the place of pulmonary artery, that is known as semiluminar valve. This valve is called as a semiluminar valve. The same type of valve is also present in the pulmonary arteries. So the valve is present in the pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein are going to be the semiluminar valve, whereas tricuspid, bicuspids are going to present in the between atrium and ventricle. And you can say at the bottom of the aorta you have a aortic valve. At the bottom of left or right pulmonary arteries will have a semiluminar valve, and then aortic valve is also present at the end of aorta. If you see how the valves looks, and this diagram clearly shows what is the role of the valve. So the role of the valve is to block the flow of blood in two ways. It allows only the blood flow in one direction. Is it not? So if you see the left auriculoventricular valve, that is a bicuspid valve, which we should allow the blood flow from atrium to ventricle. So it should allow the inflow of blood. So it shows the opening. Similarly, the right AV valve, that is a tricuspid valve, which should allow the blood flow from right atrium to right ventricle. So it again inflow. But these valves are semiluminar valves which allows outflow of the blood. So one is going to aortic valve is allow the blood should flow from ventricle to aorta to other part of the bodies. Similarly, the pulmonary vein is going to carry the blood from ventricle to the lungs. So outflow of blood is going to occur in between these two valves, which are known as the semiluminar valve. These two valves are known as the bicuspid and tricuspid valve. So they are going to cause the inflow of blood between arterium to ventricle. And this is to ventricle to outside of the heart. These two valves going to carry the blood from the heart to outside of. So these are the important components of the heart valve. And you can see the heart is going to be a 4-chamber. So one atrium which is known as right atrium, and the other atrium is the left atrium, and then left ventricle and right ventricle. And these ventricles are all separated by this interventricular septum. Okay, then the auricle and ventricle is also separated by a muscle tissue. You can see this. Through that muscle tissue only we have these type of valves which separates atrium and ventricles. Then you can see the right atrium collects blood from interior vena cava and superior vena cava. So superior vena cava collects blood above the heart regions, and the inferior vena cava is going to collect blood from the regions below the heart. So both veins is going to empty it in the right atrium. Once the blood comes to this right atrium, the blood will move from right atrium to right ventricle. So these bloods are going to be considered as an impure blood. That is, the blood is rich in carbon dioxide, low in oxygen. So that's why it is indicated in blue color. So once the blood comes to this right ventricle or right ventrium, it goes through this pulmonary vein to lungs. So this is going to carry the impure blood to the lungs. So once the blood goes to lungs, the lungs purifies the blood, and then from the lungs we will get the blood back to heart through this pulmonary veins, right pulmonary veins and left pulmonary veins. Both of them is going to empty it in the left atrium. So now we are getting a pure blood from the lungs through this veins, pulmonary veins. Once the pure blood comes to this left atrium, then the left atrium empties blood to left ventricle through this bicuspid valve. Once the blood comes to this left ventricle, then the pure blood, which is indicated in red color, will move throughout the body through the blood vessel known as aorta. It's a larger blood vessels. So the flow of blood, the backflow of blood is prevented by the means of this aortic valve. So with the help of all these semiluminar valves, aortic valves, bicuspid and tricuspid valves, heart able to pump the blood throughout the body. It also collects the blood. So the major circulation of the heart is it collects impure blood from the tissues, and then it will send the blood to the lungs, and then it get back the purified blood from the lungs, and then it will circulate to the other part of the body. That is why the heart is called as a pumping station. It is not going to do any other mechanical functions. It is going to do only the pumping functions. It is not going to purify blood. It is only collects and it will sense it. So it will collect from the tissue and send it to lungs, one half of the heart. The other half of the heart collects from the lungs and send it to the body part. So that is how the heart functions. That is what also indicated in this diagram. So you can see here, from the veins, blood goes to right artery, then right arterial valve and right ventricle, then pulmonary valve through pulmonary vein to the pulmonary arteries, arterioles, capillary of lungs, pulmonary venules, pulmonary veins, and comes back to left artery, then left auricle valve, the left ventricle, then aorta. Then from the aorta it goes arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules, veins, and vena cava. Then it comes back. So our circulatory system, the human circulatory system, is usually called as a closed circulatory system, unlike the circulatory systems in a cockroach. If you see the blood circulatory system in cockroach, it is called as an open circulatory system. The whole organs of the cockroach are usually bathing in the blood, whereas in humans, the bloods are always present within a blood vessel. The blood is not going to come as such out of the blood vessels physiologically. Unless if there is any damage or injury occurs to the blood vessel, the blood comes out of blood vessel. So that is why our circulatory system is called as a closed circulatory system, because always the blood circulated in the closed vessels. So that is why it is known as a closed circulatory system. And then we know that the control of the valves. We saw different valves. These valves are going to be tightly controlled by means of different muscles which are going to present at the other part of the heart region. Say for example, in the case of AV valves, they are all controlled by the papillary muscles. Okay. And then the cardiac tendinium. So these cardiac tendinium and papillary muscles will control these valves. The opening and closing of these valves plays a vital role for the movement, inflow and outflow of the blood. Okay, and it also prevents the backflow of the blood. When atrium empties, the blood comes to ventricle. When ventricle empties, the blood goes out of heart. So these mechanisms are actually controlled by controlling the movement of closing and opening of these vessel valves. So that is how the whole circulatory system is going to function. The circulatory systems, we have different types of circulatory systems. One is a pulmonary circulatory system, and this is going to circulate the blood to the lungs. Pulmonary here refers to the lungs. So when you provide circulation from the heart, the impure blood goes to lungs, and from the lungs we will get an pure blood. So this circulation is alone called as a pulmonary circulation. Then another is a systemic circulation. From the heart, we are providing blood to all the body parts, and we are getting blood from all the body parts. So that circulation is known as the systemic circulation. So the transfer of blood between different organs to the heart and from the heart to the different tissues. That is what here it is known as systemic circulation. To the lungs, from the lungs is known as the pulmonary circulation. So that is what this diagram indicates. So the red color indicates the movement of pure blood, and then once the pure blood is reached to the organ, once the organ utilizes the pure blood and they produce impure blood, that means what? Nothing but oxygen, carbon dioxide composition. So when the composition of carbon dioxide increases, it's become an impure blood. So the impure blood usually comes through the vein to the heart. Okay. In the case of lungs, the pure blood is really received through vein, and impure blood goes to lungs through heart. Okay. So this is the point to be noted. Okay. Then there is another circulation is known as the portal circulation, hepatic portal circulation. That means the circulation from the heart through aorta, it reaches liver. Okay, then from the liver, it is going to hepatic vein, and inferior vena cava, it goes to heart. So this is known as hepatic circulation. But the digestive tract which absorbs the food material is also going to come to liver, and where it is actually mixed with this hepatic vein, and then it circulates the nutrient to the heart along with the impure blood. So this is known as hepatic portal circulation. So the hepatic artery is going to provide nutrients to liver, and you can see in the previous diagram. The previous diagram you can see this. The artery is going to provide nutrient to liver as well as the nutrient to the stomach. But once the material is absorbed from the stomach, it never reaches directly to the vein. It goes to liver. From the liver, the nutrients are mixed with components of liver, and then it goes to circulation. That's why the digestive system is not directly the vein. The outward movement of the material is not directly linked to the heart, but is linked through liver. That's why the circulation is known as the hepatic portal circulation. Then the role of vein and arteries plays a vital role in circulatory system. Artery means it is going to carry blood away from heart. Vein means it carries blood towards the heart. Most of the arteries contains oxygenated blood. Most of the veins contains deoxygenated or blood with higher concentration of carbon dioxide. Only exception is that the pulmonary vein is going to contain an oxygenated blood. Pulmonary artery is going to contain a impure blood. You can see here, it's an artery. Okay. pulmonary vein is going to contain a pure blood. Okay, so this is what the exception. So in all other cases, artery will always have oxygenated blood, vein will have a deoxygenated blood. But in the case of lungs, the reverse. The artery carries a deoxygenated plus the vein carries a oxygenated blood. So you should remember that. And then the structure of heart, which is going to release the blood from the heart through the arteries. The structure of artery is more complicated. The width of blood flow in the artery is going to be very less, whereas the width, the diameter, as well as the wall layer is found to be very less. The diameter is high, but the wall, thickness of the wall is going to be very less in the case of vein. The control of circulation is highly achieved by the artery. Blood pressure is mainly achieved by the artery. So that is why it is found to have different muscle layers and tightly coiled, controlled the blood flow. Then the artery converted into arterioles, and their structure is also going to differ. They are going to contain endothelial cells and smooth muscle cells also there, which will control the blood flow. And then the arteries turned into a capillaries, and then you can see the change of structure because it is not going to have a smooth muscle. Then the capillaries slowly converted into a venules, and where the cells changed. The endothelial cells, you can see the nature of endothelial cells changes and connective tissue is present, and then the venule is converted into a vein, and then vein goes to emptied in the heart. So this is the another structure, anatomical structure of a vein and artery. The breadth, interior diameter of the blood carrying capacity is going to be less in the case of artery, but it is higher in the case of vein in normal conditions. But you can increase the breadth in a controlled manner in artery. Okay, so that is what the major difference between arteries and veins. And in addition to systemic circulation, pulmonary circulation and hepatic portal circulation, we will also have a fetal circulation. If a mother carries a child, then the mother has to provide circulation to the fetus. Then the extra circulatory system, which is known as fetal circulatory system, comes into play. So the mother provides circulation to the fetus through this umbilical cord, placenta, and then she get it back, the impure blood, through the placenta and then umbilical cord and to the heart. So that is how an extra circulation comes to the pregnant woman. That circulation is known as the fetal circulation. Then one more circulatory system that is very, very important circulatory system, that is nothing but an important known as the coronary circulation. Coronary circulation is nothing but the circulation provided to the heart, because we know that heart is made up of cardiac muscle. Okay, so the muscle has to contract because the function of heart is a pumping, mechanical function is pumping control point. So it has to pump, so muscle has to contract. So this contract requires energy. The energy should be provided by an ATP molecule. So if you want to provide this ATP, you need an electron transport chain has to carry it out. ATC has to occur. Then only you will get ATP molecule. So for that you need an oxygen. So oxygen has to be supplied. And then the movement of the muscles has to be controlled by different nervous systems, different minerals like calcium. So they are all required. They has to be supplied to the heart. And these things are achieved by this circulatory system. That circulatory system is known as the coronary circulation system. So coronary circulatory system is a circulatory system which is going to provide circulation to the heart itself. Clear? So you can see the coronary circulation system in two halves. One is artery. How the arteries which are present above this heart is going to provide the blood to the heart. And then how the vein is going to collect the impure blood from the heart. Okay, this is how we are seeing that the coronary circulation two way. You can see here there is a two blood vessels. I hope everybody, if you see that blood that is wall structure clearly, you can see there is a two blood vessels going out of this wall. See here you can see this. So these are known as the coronary arteries. So the coronary arteries which are going to move towards 2 point, anterior and posterior region of the heart. So these two blood vessels is going to actually carry the pure blood to the heart. That is known as the, they are known as the, here you can see right coronary artery and left coronary artery. Then the left and right coronary will provide posterior and anterior part. We can see one by one. The right coronary artery will provide a blood to this posterior interventricular region arteries. Okay, then marginal artery. So they are all contributed by this right coronary artery. Then if you see the left coronary artery, the left coronary artery is converted into a circumflex artery, and then this is going to be branched into an anterior interventricular artery, which is provide circulation to left ventricle. Then the arteries of one circulatory system will combine with the other circulatory system to form a special type of junction which is called as anastomosis. So the anastomosis is the part which is through which both the regions, anterior as well as posterior region, can exchange their arterial blood. Okay, so that is how the blood is going to be supplied to the heart through these coronary arteries. The major coronary arteries are right coronary artery and left coronary artery. So right will provide mostly to the right ventricle, and left is going to provide the blood circulation to the left ventricle. Then the second, how we are going to retrieve back the blood. The blood is retrieved from the small cardiac vein, starting from small cardiac vein, and then they come converted into a middle cardiac vein, and then it's become an anterior cardiac vein, and these are the anterior cardiac vein then emptied in a great cardiac vein, and this great cardiac vein empties to the superior vena cava. So that is how the blood collected from small cardiac vein, middle cardiac vein, anterior cardiac vein, and great cardiac vein, it goes to the vena cava. And then here also there is a sinuses are present, the joining part where the cardiac veins are going to empty to this different cardiac veins are going to be present. They are called as the cardiac sinuses. So through the sinuses, the vessels are combined and they will supply the blood to the heart. So the coming back to the heart, so that it will get the pure blood through this coronary artery. Then they will empty their impure blood to the vena cava through this great cardiac vein. So this is how the cardiac circulation occurs. If you take a heart, the blood vessels plays a vital role. Okay, the arteria, ventricles, which comes out of heart, then it is converted into arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules, veins, and they will supply blood to different organs, different tissues. Okay, so these are the important components of circulations. So this is how the blood supplies blood to the different parts of our body, and they will also receive the blood from different parts of the body. So that is how the structure of the heart acting like a pumping station. It's not going to do anything else. So the heart, the main role of heart is a pumping. How it is going to pump the blood, and it also receives the blood. It's like a pumping station. That is the major important function of heart. Okay, so with this we would like to finish today's presentation. If you have any questions related with this anatomy of structure and valve structure or artery structure, vein structure, you can contact me either through mail, through sivabio@gmail.com, or through phone 9865866168. I will reach you back through mail or phone. For the preparation of this presentation, we used physiology books like Guyton's, Wenders, and then the Siebernagel books and Fox, and different physiology books are used. Essential of Medical Physiology is also used for the preparation of this presentation. So you can also refer these books to get more knowledge about this anatomy of heart. So with these few words, I conclude today's presentation of third section of second unit of Human Physiology paper. Thank you very much.